go ahead and call the meeting to order. Before we stand for the pledge, I just want to introduce our two students that have come to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They are sisters, obviously. They look alike. So it is Andy and Amara Moya. They are fourth grade students at Lutz, and they are part of the Lutz Make a Difference Club. We've had a couple students from Atkinson Make a Difference Club. So great time for students to get involved, get to learn a little bit about community service and helping around the school and other students and teachers. So it's a good program for our students to be in. So if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and that will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get it back.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Great job, ladies.
All right. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom.
Here.
Ms. Lehman.
Here.
Ms. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Nally.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from our regular meeting held on November 10th, 2025, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nally. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom.
Yes.
Mr. Nally.
Yes.
Ms. Lehman.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved. Moving on to legislative report. Don.
A couple things I wanted to mention. Really two topics. One, vouchers, and two, property tax. One, and they definitely tie together well. Just reading the equity and adequacy, some of their information, and I'm going to repeat some of the things that I've said over the course of time, but the key thing that I wanted to emphasize is with the $1.7 billion that are going over to vouchers in Ohio, the financial aspect of our public schools, if that 1.7 billion did not come off of our line item for public schools, we should be able to fully fund the Fair School Funding Plan. And because of those dollars coming away from there, that's forcing our legislators to, well, it's forcing us not to have the money coming down from the state, and it's forcing us to look at where are those deficits going to be in the future and how do we meet those. And really, we don't have a whole lot of options other than down the road looking at property taxes. Well, that's the other area that our state legislators are reforming, is a lot of the things with property tax. And I think they're doing some of that to kind of head off the movement to get rid of property taxes totally. But apparently with a lot of the things that I've read, it kind of indicates that those kind of stopgap measures are not going to be enough. And so it's going to fall back to us on a local basis. And again, you know, the vouchers have a direct correlation with us, whether we have property taxes or not. See, the other thing with property taxes, there's several bills that have been pushed through, both through the House and Senate, that are things like capping growth on our 20 mil floor to inflation, and it sounds good, but I'm sure that it causes a lot of angst for people like our treasurer who have to kind of look at those, and our superintendent to look at how are we going to fund our school out a ways. And I believe Miss Parkhurst will probably mention that a little bit more later as to some of the changes that are happening with property taxes. But one of the areas, again, with the property taxes, another area is House Bill 309, which allows for the county budget commissions to reduce millage on certain voter-approved levies. Two concerns there. One, that another body is able to make a decision after we have made that decision that we need those dollars. And two, that if they're voter approved, they're looking at the budget commission can override. And that concerns me that, that there's a body out there that can override those decisions that are made by our voters. One of the areas that really concerns me, the House Government Oversight Committee just held its third committee meeting. One of the concerns I have was, and I think when I read this one sentence, you'll realize what they're looking at is to collect and report data concerning the citizenship or immigration status of persons with whom they come into contact. And that to me is a very, very scary sentence, because what that's doing is kind of opening that door to some of these other departments and immigration to have that direct access to the data of people in our schools and in our community. And I think, that's bringing it back to a very scary time. And I think that's kind of all I wanted. And there's some things that have gone to the governor. I don't believe at this point he has signed the veto on Senate Bill 50, and that's dealing with school age certificates to work. And so that I think 14 to 16-year-olds being able to work later into the evening. And I think he has some concerns, and so there's a possible veto there. But like we heard this past summer, once something is vetoed, it doesn't mean that it can't come up in the next session. It doesn't mean that it's totally out of the cycle. And with us having one party rule, kind of with that super majority, that can be a great concern. So again, those were the main two areas that I wanted to cover, were the vouchers and property taxes. And I think people just have to realize that we all need to educate ourselves. There's some staying even away from social media. If you look at our news messenger, there's been some really good articles in there in regards to schools. Not that I agree with the articles all, but there's some editorials and there's some articles. So I would just encourage you as fellow board members and the community that's out there listening right now to make sure that you're reading those. And if you have questions, feel free to contact us in the district. Our administrators can help with that, and they can also help guide you to the right people. The people that really are making the decisions are, and that we need to continue to affect our state senator, and our representative from the House of Representatives. Those two individuals, Mr. Reineke, the senator, and Mr. Click, our House of Representative member. Those are the people that we really need to make sure our personal and our family thoughts are shared. So I don't know if anybody has any comments.
Just kind of piggyback off of what you just said. Those two individuals are probably the people who, if the public has questions or concerns, too, about how things are going, to contact those people directly, as well.
That's all.
All right. Thanks, Don. Moving on, no walk-on items tonight.
Sir.
No one is here in person for a hearing of the public, so we'll move on to the superintendent's report, please.
Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple things to share with you. First of all, I believe it was shared into your information on Friday, and it's part of the board agenda this evening, the 2 draft school calendars for the 26-27 school year. Wow, that seems very crazy to say. 26, 27. So that we have 2 different options, option A, option B. Would like to publicly make sure that you are aware that we followed the process that is outlined in our negotiated agreement with our FEA group. And we've met with a committee a couple of times. There were 2 different calendar pieces, A and B, that went before the membership of FEA. There were a couple of differences between those 2. One thing that we tried to make different and have conversation around at the committee level, that every year for Fremont City Schools, it's a challenge on that start date in August. With where the Sandusky County Fair falls, and we know that many of our families are involved with the Sandusky County Fair in a variety of manners, and we have a lot of really cool activities that take place, but we always have that start time right there. So that was something that we put forth, the committee put forth. There was a little bit difference at what day of the week that started on and what that looked like for our teachers. So that was a piece that we tried to take into consideration. The teachers union has voted. 53% of them have chose option B. 46% of those who participated in the survey were option A. So I bring those before you today. We'll bring those back on to officially vote on those back in January. So when we come back together after the start of the new year, but wanted to make sure to share that piece with you. Any questions on those pieces that you've seen?
So the main part was this. The main difference is that August start.
That's a piece.
And 53% voted to start, get things going on Tuesday of that week.
On Tuesday of that week. That is correct. Or no, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you are correct. The other thing that changes between those 2 calendars are sometimes where the breaks fall, and the length of those breaks sometimes is a different piece. We always try to look at with a little bit longer winter break and a shorter spring break, and a longer winter break and a longer spring break. And again, where those professional development days fall, where those parent-teacher conference days fall. So all of that is conversation that takes place at the committee level, and making sure that they're different enough that there's something to look at and vote on, but that is that piece.
Okay.
Fantastic. Moving on, we've had 2 committee meetings since our last board meeting to report on. So the first is CQCC. Our curriculum quality control committee has met under the direction of Mrs. Abby Abernathy. And I believe, Ms. Lewis, you're going to share out with us a little bit on that?
Yes, thank you. For CQCC, just a few bullet point things to report back. Officially approved stats as a full year course. So lots of good discussion, even in the previous meeting, surrounding that. Good rationale, sound, I would say background work on that to make sure that that's a good decision for the students that would be affected, I guess, by that decision. We are going to be sending out interest surveys to the underclassmen to just get their thoughts and feelings about any new courses that they'd like to see. I think that's a strong piece for the district to offer, for the students to have a voice in what kind of things they'd like to see, or courses they'd like to take beyond what's required. Maybe even related to following or creating a trajectory for a career plan, how to incorporate that CQCC piece, or however it will affect that child's learning trajectory for their future. So that's pretty exciting as well. And lastly, we meet this week and we'll discuss the course description guide. Again, going back to why we're all here, and it's for the students and what we have to offer them. So
fantastic. Thank you. A lot of good work coming out of that department. Mrs. Abernathy is doing a fantastic job. Thank you. The other committee that met just last week was our policy committee meeting. And I can talk a little bit about that. And Mr. Nally, Mrs. Bloom, if you want to jump in there, feel free. We spent a little over 2 hours walking through a whole lot of policies that we shared out with you all to take a look at.
And it showed.
There was a lot there. I will tell you that the majority of changes, and the majority of the changes that came before the committee were based on some legislative changes. A lot of the pieces came out of House Bill 96, which was our budget bill back in beginning part of July. A couple other tweaks from a couple other different legislative pieces. There were a lot of pieces with the transportation aspect that came to us from the governor's safety committee, his council that he put together to survey some of those pieces. A lot of recommendations that came forward from that gave us some of those pieces. There was some cybersecurity. And the other really big one that we had a lot of conversation about, and really in the district, we've had a lot of conversation since July, because we knew this change was coming, is that cell phone piece. And I will share with you that Mr. Norris and I put out a notification this morning to all of our students and guardians at Ross High School, just to make sure that they all know, based on House Bill 96, it is required in law that beginning after schools, when they restart back in January of 26, that those cell phones and all electronic devices must be put away during the, quote, instructional time. So current language, which is what our policy has been written around, defined instructional day. Defined instructional time. And that's currently what we have in place. At our elementary buildings, it's not a problem. Students may bring that device to school, but it's put away in their book bag. It's put away in their cubby. It is out of sight. It's a done deal. At the middle school, students may bring that device to school, but it is in their locker. It is out of sight all day long. Currently at the high school level, students have the opportunity to not be on their device during instructional time, which is the opportunity of when our teachers are teaching and the students should be academic. However, there are downtimes in the high school day. So current law, current policy allows for our students to have access to their device in between classes, during lunch, essentially during a study hall. And that is how we are functioning currently. And I will tell you that my staff at the high school and my students at the high school have done a very, very good job with that. I will tell you in Fremont, that's not broken and we're doing okay. And I will tell you that due to the legislative changes, it is outside of the control of the local level here at Fremont City Schools, and that across the state, the new language coming through the legislation says instructional day. The language in the law did not define that. However, DEW did. And instructional day has been defined for every local district from the start of the day until the end of the day. So at our high school, from 7:30 to 2:30, our students will not have access to their devices. So at the high school level, they are going to build in a little bit of time at the beginning of the day where students will have an opportunity to make sure they all can get to their lockers. We've made sure that every student that is in the building for what classifies as a full-time student, which is going to be 50% or more of their day, will have access. They'll be assigned a locker with a lock, and their phone will go in there, and it will be safe. And they have time at the beginning of the day to get it there and still get to first period on time. So we've changed the schedule a little bit. We're assigning those lockers, and everyone will have a lock. So if you choose to bring that device to school, it will be locked up and safe. For all of our students that are under that 50%, which is a lot of our students, high school looks very different than when I was in high school. And we have a lot of kiddos that are coming and going, whether they're at Vanguard or they're taking a CCP course or they're working and coming back in. Those students already check in every day at our attendance office. They have to sign in there. They scan their card. They get in there. They're assigned to the building and make sure that we know they're in the building for security and safety reasons. They are then going to be assigned a number in a caddy that will be locked up in Mrs. Ziski's office. So no extra stop for our students. They're coming there anyway. They'll hand in their device. It's their slot on the caddy. It's assigned to them. She'll turn around behind her. She'll put it in that caddy, and it will stay in there locked and safe until the end of the day or when they leave.
End of their day.
At the end of their day. And then they'll stop in there and retrieve it back, and out the door they go. So I believe that my high school administration has come up with a very solid plan that will go into effect when we return to school on January 5th. There was a communication that went out signed by Mr. Norris and myself this morning, detailing all of that for our students and our parents and guardians so that they are very well aware. The consequences are listed in there as well. And we are taking this very, very seriously. This is legal. This is a law aspect. I can tell you that Mr. Norris and his crew have been talking to students since the very first day of school. They have been telling them, this is what we do right now. This is what it's going to be when we come back in January. This is how it's going to have to change. So we will do that. I encourage all of my parents that if they are not receiving Parent Square notifications, please make sure that your final forms is updated. Please make sure that you're downloading the app. Please make sure that you are controlling how you want those Parent Square messages, because your child will not have their device with them during the school day to text you anything. And so if you need a communication, in case there would be an incident at the building, that Parent Square communication will be very important for you to know those pieces. I would also say that there are a couple of exceptions. If there's a medical need or a student with disability need, those teams are in place and putting those pieces together. And then finally, I would just remind our families and guardians at home that we know how important it is for you to have access for your child to communicate to you. Child can walk into the office at any time and say, I need to call my mom. Forgot my lunch money. I need to call my mom. My bag for practice is at home. I left it in the backseat of the car. We will continue to make those calls and support those communications. That's what we do. We
You know, I
connect
was
home and
thinking
school.
a critical part of all that is we don't remember phone numbers anymore.
Right. Well, the good thing is we in the office can look
Right.
them up.
Exactly.
So we got you. But again, that's the
I'm going with
important-
that is
the real importance of making sure that our families and guardians are keeping that information in final forms updated.
Yeah.
That is on them. They have that option to do that. But so if that cell phone number changes, right? And you're 100% right. I don't remember all of my
Right.
kids' numbers because it's in my phone.
right.
So if what you have on record with us is not accurate,
hmm
then we're going to have a disconnect, right? So this is going to take a team. This is going to take all of us, but it is the law and we will be ready and we have a plan in place. And it was one of our policies, one of the many, many, many that we discussed and walked through. And
Yeah, I was looking, there were 39
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
policies that we reviewed.
yeah, so there are 39
through-
policies. Thank you, Mr. Nally, coming to you tonight for first reading when we get there.
One question on the cell phone thing.
Yes.
Because it's state law
Uh-huh.
and it's defined now by DEW,
Mhm.
does that mean every school in the state of Ohio or just public schools?
That's- You tell me
Because
that.
we all know that there's that
Mm-hmm.
double standard of, well, if I'm a community school, I have different standards, or if I'm a private school, do we know? if
I am
that-
not positive with that. I would say that all aspects of DEW are not always applicable to all aspects of the educational bodies.
Right.
As a public school system, we have no wiggle room. Every mandate that comes out of DEW, we must follow,
have to follow.
right? But I can check on that to double check it
Because
with you. But I'm
this
not
isn't
positive.
something that's coming from DEW. This is
This
state
is
law.
legislative law.
Yep.
It was in House Bill 96.
In my
guess is
mind,
that we
that
all
should-
have to
Right.
this.
In my mind, that should cover if you are in any type of
Mhm.
educational
Yep.
thing
K-12
for
environment,
kids,
right?
that should fall under that.
Yep. It's a K-12 learning environment.
Yeah, I think you're just trying to start a fight. No, I agree. I agree with you
A
that,
second.
you know, I
You.
think I agree with you
I
that
agree.
it's what we need to see is consistency there. But, you know, all the different papers that I was just reading through, you know, there was a lot of discussions, especially with the equity and adequacy. There were a lot of times when they were talking about that fairness component, and some, you know, in different states are dealing with that across, you know, across the country. But I'm not sure from the things I've read that that's going to go much beyond our public schools, but it should.
That's usually how it plays out.
Right.
Pretty much. I guess I would just encourage parents and families. We've already kind of soft launched this. Like,
Yes.
like we went from having no real cell phone policy. I shouldn't say no real, but like a less restrictive cell phone policy
Mhm.
to what we've put in place that we're replacing right now. So we're just traveling the gamut here, and we've all made it. We've all survived. We've all been able to communicate. I think the piece, Superintendent Hurt, that you mentioned about it's the instructional day. It's not that they can't have it. You know, they can bring it to the school. It has to be put up. And then when they're done at the end of the day, so if there are those critical, you know, pieces, like I frequently send that text that says, hey, I know I'm supposed to pick you up. I'm going to be 15 minutes late. You think the first thing your kid's not going to do when they get to their locker is get their lung? I mean, they're gonna, you know what I mean?
Right.
So they're gonna see those messages that, that you send. So we, it sounds like good work has been done. I can attest to Mr. Norris has been, and the administration has been, from day one, like you said, because that was a dinner conversation. In January, so the kiddos know, and we're all going to make it. It's going to be fine, and we're all going to make it. And if we have legitimate, concerns about communication and contact, you talk with the building administrator and we work it out.
Absolutely. And the rationale behind the language in the law was the intention was never to cause hardship
Correct.
for students or for families.
Correct.
The intention, my understanding of the intention of the law, is to build the opportunity for students to engage with each other, to engage academically with their instructors.
Yep.
And to learn again, to have conversation that doesn't look like this. Right. And so I think that's the purpose in the law. And I will tell you, I've had in the last year and a half, when we have gone to that more restrictive piece, I've had students say to me, you know what, I kind of like that I can't have it in class. There are pluses to that. They're engaging more for the reason that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I still hear from kids that tell me it's horrible and stupid and I'm, cutting off their arm kind of a thing. So.
I can't breathe.
Yeah. But it is the plan. We are here. And it was a big discussion in the policy committee.
And one day we all did survive without cell phones in our pockets.
You didn't
when we
need
went to
phones
school.
anywhere unless you wanted to pay for it.
And I think the other thing too is especially for parents and we tell kids this and sometimes they don't take it to heart. If you simply ask a couple questions, that can eliminate frustration or anxiety. Ask questions before you jump the gun or just assume anything, because sometimes 2 questions answered can make things a whole lot smoother. We tell kids that all the time. Well, all you got to do is ask. Everybody's here to answer a question if you need it. You got to ask, though. Mm-hmm. So same with parents. Man, if you got questions, call the office, call the school office, every administrator is going to be able to explain this to you or principal or whatever else. And you could get that frustration maybe taken care of before it gets too bad. So
absolutely. All right. A quick check from my fax person out here in the audience, Mrs. Abernathy. Private schools are not required to ban cell phones, which doesn't mean that they won't, but they're not required by law. However, community schools are required to have a policy very similar to ours. So,
yeah, I think they should all be banned at dinner time. We never let the kids have them at the table. And it irritates me when you go into a restaurant and the whole family's sitting there like this. Like, put that down. Talk to them. Talk to those kids. My grandson, he'll probably won't have a cell phone until he's somewhere in junior high, maybe. But I go out to eat with him and the phone goes away and I sit and talk to him. So
good. Very good. So we will get through January.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions about policy? Okay. All right.
I think we can go ahead and move on to recommendations.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Just some information, and does not need to have a roll call, but just that we will need to appoint that president pro tem for the organization meeting scheduled for January 12th, organizational tax meeting scheduled for January 12th, that those pieces are coming. So I just wanted to make sure that we include those pieces here so that public knows that we will be getting after those pieces and getting in front of January. Item number 1, I would ask that you consider the approval of some very, very generous donations. Once again, coming into our community, Gatorade and water for our wrestling teams, hats, gloves, hats, crutches. Somebody had some extra crutches we took that we can keep in our nurse's station and our athletic trainer. Sometimes those needs really do come up. So it was just been wonderful. Socks and underwear, and a very generous donation to our district food pantry. So I would ask that you approve those items, please.
Could I have a motion to approve item?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? I would just like to say, for one, Gunther at G&D Extreme Auto Detailing, the Gatorade and water, just not to just pull one donation out because they're all very important and we appreciate all of them. I just happen to be a part of that one in the wrestling world. It is what he does is he donates Gatorade cases of Gatorade and water. He brought it in on a trailer, pulled a trailer in with his truck, and he got enough for boys wrestling and girls wrestling. So we unload it, and it is literally cases of Gatorade and water for us to take to tournaments, to meets, so that they can stay hydrated throughout the day. Like yesterday, we were at an all-day tournament. We had 2 cases of water and a case of Gatorade for us, and that was taken care of from them. So
Nice.
it's a huge help for the wrestling community to have that. So Gunther, thank you.
Very generous.
Yeah.
All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you, sir. Those policies begin with item number 2 and go to item 43.
So you slipped in 3 policies.
I didn't count them. They are all there. She did.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So if we could please look at item 2 to 43 and have a first reading on those policies.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve items 2 through 43, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nally. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lehman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Give me 1 second. I gotta add the roll call to my version. Sorry about that.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, so it's Mr. Nally and
Laura.
Laura.
Miss
Okay,
Lehman.
thank you.
Yes, Miss Lehman.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
and Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Wonderful. Thank you. You will see them all again at the next meeting so that we can get that official. Item number 44 starts some of our staff pieces. And I would like to acknowledge the resignation of our head football coach, Coach Chad Long. I was very surprised to receive that resignation letter, and he is leaving us with 10 years of dedicated service to the district. He will be maintaining his teaching position and his other coaching supplementals at this time. But he's going to step away from the helm of football, he has informed us. Item number 45, we have some appointments. Yay, Mrs. King's department. She keeps really working us with we have a couple certified staff substitutes as well as some support staff. And Victoria Biggs will be joining us after winter break at Ross High School as one of our cooks. And Paul Lottage, who has been subbing for us as a bus driver, has completed all of those pieces, and we will now be hiring him on. So he will have a regular route with us, and that is fantastic. Anytime we can add a driver. Item number 46, we have a couple of supplemental contracts beginning with Angela Hush and down to Joe Hershey. And I would like to just call out there Isaiah McDonald with the Men with Manners advisor for Fremont Middle School. Men with Manners is one of those pieces that we've had in place at the elementary level for several years now. And it's kind of like that Make a Difference Club that Mr. Price noted at the beginning with our ladies from the pledge. It's an opportunity for those elementary students to come together in this aspect as men, as students growing into men, and having opportunity to hear from speakers and learn different aspects and be able to put things in place in their lives. Earlier this year, we added for the first time Girls with Goals and that component. Men with Manners is new here at the middle school with Isaiah McDonald running helm. When they made an announcement, I was informed that because we do have some policy in the district that if we're going to start a new club or an activity, there's a threshold of how many kids we want to have involved. So they made an announcement that if there was, to see if there was any interest, and 80 middle school boys came down and signed up on that clipboard. And I just think that is worth shouting out, because that tells me that what we're doing at the elementary level is fantastic and is working, and that those gentlemen who were then coming to the middle school were maybe missing that aspect a little bit and wanted to start that and have that here at FMS. So Mrs. Parker went all the way through and we posted for a advisor, and they're going to get up and running in January. And I think that's just a pretty cool aspect.
That's
Wanted
super.
to point that out.
And what a perfect example of a man with manners, in Mr. McDonald. He is an asset.
He is.
And will continue to be a strong asset in this capacity.
I wholeheartely agree with you. He will model and lead well.
Do we have men with manners at all the grade schools?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
I wasn't sure. Because I asked Grayson and he said, I don't know, he didn't say anything about it. He's in.
Some of the buildings do a little bit different grade levels. Sometimes it's just 4, 5. Sometimes
Okay.
it's 3, 4, 5. So they very similar concept. They run a little differently. But yeah, all the buildings have that aspect, which is very cool. All right. Item number 47 gives us some supplementals. We have a couple coaches being added there. Item number 48 is a lifeguard, a student to join us. And item 49 are a couple of status changes. And that takes us to the end of the staff.
Can I get a motion to approve items 44 through 49, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lehman. Any discussion?
Doc just couldn't stay away, huh?
It's coming back to give us one more junior class prom, I think.
Oh, nice.
We're on it.
And to Chad, thank you for the years of service as our football coach. Being an outstanding coach, but also helping those kids along the way for those 10 years. So still have him on staff, and we still have DJ Gordo as our wrestling coach. So that's a nickname for him. Sorry. So, but he'll get it if he hears it. But so anyway, we're happy he's still wrestling coach, but just stepping back from. So, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yeah.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you.
Moving on to report of the treasurer.
Good evening. Like Mr. Nally said earlier, there are some significant House bills with school finance right now. Our top 4 that we've really been focusing on is House Bill 29, House Bill 129, 186, 309, and 335. They're all really focusing on the subject of property tax and reforming. It's just a really hot topic. They are all currently passed in the House and Senate. They have not been sent to the governor yet, which is interesting that they were all passed, I want to say late, like November 21st-ish. Don't quote me on that date exactly, but before Thanksgiving, and they have yet to go to the governor for signing. The governor has 10 days to move on that with vetoes and signing those bills into law, but they have not been sent to him yet for signature. So we're just kind of in a waiting realm with those, which is really interesting with how quickly they moved through both the House and the Senate, and now they're not being moved into that last step. So I feel like we've talked about these 4 House bills for a while and saying about how quickly they've moved, and now we're in this weird holding area. So just a fun little
I think that's why I had was kind of researching today, and I was really having a hard time figuring that out, because I had heard that some of those 4 or 5 had been moving on. And then, all the information just says that it's been moving on. But then I went to the governor's site and nothing was showing that something's on his desk.
Yeah. Yep. I checked all 4 and they've completed the whole process. They have not been sent to the governor. So that is where they are currently all sitting. So
You shared a chart with us that kind of showed
that inflation.
want to talk, yeah, because I know that basically that was showing that we'd be down about $1 million, which is significant in 2027.
Yeah, that was the effect of, let me find that real quick. I think it's this last one. That was the House Bill 129. So House Bill 129 and 186 that they did simulations, or we've done simulations to figure out what our actual local effect would be. And it would result, like you said, in $1 million in fiscal 27, because that's when it would touch our values, because it was based upon collection times and when reappraisals happen and those different cycles that happen in the county auditor's office. So,
Well, and my point was, that's just, again, an example of why we have to really kind of be aware and on top, and because it can be kind of one of those, poof, $1 million is gone from the budget, and that is significant in our school district.
yeah, that's never something I like to see when they give us simulations for our funding and we all of a sudden have $1 million that's not there anymore. It's a fun time. I always go tell Mrs. Hurt she needs to start cutting her spending. Just went and slashed her budget. I also had
Like funny, not funny though.
That well, by the way.
because there's certain things like, oh, I don't know, the electric bill, the gas bill, I can't cut. So yeah. The other thing I know I had sent with one of my updates, I really think this is his take on the different House bills with property tax. Senator Blessing had some really interesting comments. I hope you guys got to watch that link that I had sent out, because he really talked about how, I think it was House Bill 309, what that's really going to do. Yes, it looks like a great fix for now, but what does that look like over time? He goes, are we sitting here saying that we don't think that schools are not spending their money correctly? Like, is that really what we're saying? And I just really thought his take on the whole thing was very interesting from school finance. Like, he kind of got it, and he talked about more of a long-term fix to maybe this problem. So just, I can resend you that link. It was nice to actually hear somebody that sounded like they got it. That's out in our
There's very few.
yeah. So it was just, I really liked hearing somebody kind of step up in our legislature and say, hey, our school districts aren't just out there spending money like it's
Making it rain.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like I said, it was just really nice to have somebody not bash on school districts and how we spend our money. So
It's amazing to me too that that's kind of the thinking that you get from everybody, yet we're audited every single year. So how do they think that we're misappropriating money when we actually have the state? I'd like to know, is our state legislature audited very well every year? I mean, if we're holding feet to the fire, let's go across the board to everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're audited by the actual auditor of state every year. So it's not like we're hiding $10 million and we're giving kickbacks somewhere. So I don't know what they're thinking, but
And I can tell you, it is like a hawk what those auditors pull, and you better have everything signed, sealed, delivered.
Yep.
Some of the funniest stuff that we're like, oh, well, that should be fine. No, I'm sorry, that's not.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think another thing people don't realize, and I was had read where in 1999, our public schools were funded by the state at a rate of 45.7%. Now, this year, we're closer to 35%. So as costs have gone up through the years since 1999, all these costs have gone up, and then boom, now, hey, here's 35% instead of, 45%.
Make it work.
And yeah. So, we all know costs have gone up. That's the whole big issue that's out there right now.
Question is where did that money go?
That part, or as the kids do.
Well, $1.7 billion is going to, that voucher system. And, really that system has kind of gotten out of control, where it's basically everybody's eligible.
Yeah.
And, it was originally put out there for people who, who were economically disadvantaged, or those individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's everybody. And it's not to say that the people who are sending their kids to private school are rich or wealthy. It's the fact that, constitutionally, those dollars are supposed to be going to public schools.
Yep.
If you want to change it, that's where you change it. And sorry, we're interrupting you, Megan.
No, that's
I can see the governance of like what we would call carryover funds, like to make sure that in a district, if this is your annual, operating budget, that we make sure that we do things appropriately. And so to have some type of that governance over funding that we got, I get that at some level. All the rest of this is like, I don't understand.
They don't either. So
there's that part.
We also have a finance committee coming up this week that will be going over some different finance items. We're closing out November this week, moving into December with our books. Open enrollment is done for the district, and payroll was all set to roll with new effective rates first pay in December. It's a huge undertaking. Marina and Justin were double checking, triple checking, making sure everything was where it needs to be with those insurance rates. Marina was all over every employee in this district to get their open enrollment done. If it was not, she's got it. She's on them. She has laptops in her office. She had spares. And she's like, all right, come in. I will walk you through it. I will hold your hand, but you are doing it. I'm like, oh, love that.
That's
Good.
great.
Good.
Yeah. We are also getting ready to wrap up the end of the year with our calendar year end items. We have a meeting with our A-site that goes over just those annual things that we have to do in the office to get everything wrapped up for the year end. And it's just with some of those tasks that you only do one time a year, it's always nice to have somebody say, okay, now remember, this is what we do. And it's like, okay, yep. Now those wheels are turning. You can go back and kind of go, okay, this is a process. Does anything pop out as what we need to adjust? So that will always be a fun meeting to attend. So if we want to move on to the recommendations.
Okay.
Yep. Item 50, we have the October fiscal year 26 financial report. That really kind of got tied up into my first forecast. Trying to come up with a title for it. I don't remember. Just a couple of things to note. Our income tax, we had the first two collections. They're up just over 1.35%. That's very reflective for our local economy. We normally are more in the 4% range of that being up annually, but we're only looking at 1.35. So just kind of reflects how we are moving with our current economy. And that again just kind of highlights that lack of predictability when it comes to income tax. That number floats so heavily for us. I can't stress that enough. That's just it's not easy to forecast on our income tax levy. Just we're always unsure where that ball's going to hit exactly with those collections. Our state funding is just up 1% in 4 months, which is a little sad because our expenses are up 1.4% for just salaries alone. We also had some other purchases with buses and stuff that increased our expenses a little bit in other areas. But we have to get our buses back up. I think our last bus finally put us into having the whole fleet working. I know we had,
and I think we're scheduled for 2
in the
additional
spring
kind of
to
spread
have
it out.
spares. I think we were
Yeah, the last one we got was a
a
specific
yeah.
special bus for our students with disability. Right.
So if
Unfortunately, we got to have them, and they're not cheap.
No.
Yep.
I know when I started, I think they were like under 100,000, and now they're
I
up
can
to
remember.
like
30 to
130.
150.
Yeah.
I can remember 90.
That's
Easy for a decent bus, and yeah, we won't get one under 130 now.
Oh.
And we have to have it, and we have to. We'd be farther off if we didn't stick to a schedule where we were regularly, trying to stay updated with
Replacing
those
that
items.
fleet, yeah.
Mhm. Oh. So that's kind of where our October is hitting for the year. Like I said, that's really more, it was highly, we went over it in the 5-year forecast, so I didn't go into too much detail to bore you with tonight. So,
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve item 50, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nally. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
Item 51 on the agenda tonight, some changes to permanent appropriations. The mass majority of these are for athletics. This is their fundraising money that they've earned throughout the year, and now they want to be able to spend it for their different programs on different things for their teams. And then that last one, I do want to go over just a little bit more in depth.
Good answer.
So that last one is for our food service fund, and it says 120,000. So when we approve appropriations, we do 100% of what we spent the previous fiscal year. If any of you have looked at your grocery bill recently, your grocery bill is a lot more expensive than what it was last year. We are running into that same thing. Our cost for the food service program is going up. We are very fortunate in that we have a very good food service fund. I think we have a balance of, I believe, we started the year with 1.5, and I believe we're sitting right around 1.5. So we are pretty much bringing in what we're taking out. So we are just wanting to be able to spend some of that money. We only currently have about $700,000 appropriated to that line. So we want to free up a little bit more of that 1.6 to spend. This kind of directly correlates to our being completely free for our students for our regular meals. Our reimbursements are only for kids that actually qualify for free status and reduced, but we have that for the whole district. So we are seeing that we have to spend a little more money, which was with our balance. And our food service fund, that was part of our spend down plan because we did have a financial review and they said to spend down that separate fund, which is our food service. So we very conservatively looked at where we're at right now and where we think we're going to come in on some of those higher bills. And we felt like 120 should help for the rest of the year, but we will relook at that in a couple months and may have to increase it later. We're not sure.
So that's a pretty educated guess based
Yes.
on costs and getting through the end of the year right now.
Yes.
But as things continue to inflate, that might need to be
Yeah.
adjusted.
And we say end of year. We say in
School year?
June.
our school year. So we're
Yes,
saying
our
June.
school year. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it better not be the end of this month.
Yeah.
If so, I'm coming for lunch. What are we having for $120,000?
And just another note in there, when we look at that food service fund, just a reminder that
That is all federal funds.
it's
That
all
is
federal
not-
funds that's very specific about how those funds can be utilized.
Mhm.
We can only spend those funds on certain items that are very specific around how we're serving children, who is serving children, what we're serving children.
Certifications that are in place hold like all that. Like that is very specific and that is heavily audited every year. Not that nothing isn't, but
Straight out of the federal government with those funds.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to just say that
Yeah.
to our community again, when we talk about having
A surplus and-
1.6
yeah.
million sitting there that can only be used for these things.
mhm.
So
And we do.
Yes, and we do.
do.
Yes.
and we do
it
it
is important.
appropriately. And
Yes.
yeah, I think we feed our kids really well. I got invited to a Thanksgiving feast at Krogan Elementary, and the kiddos were tasting squash, which was really fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was something very different
gosh.
for them. And kindergarten
them.
they had a predisposed notion, right? So they were all into it, and they were all excited to try something new. And but those vegetables, those real produce pieces, those cost money too.
Mhm. Yep.
It's hard. So.
It was actually funny.
Fun.
My nephew came to Thanksgiving dinner and he was like, I want what we had at school. I'm like, what?
Was it the squash?
And
Was this
no.
what they tried? Each
I-
building may have
it
done
was-
something different, but
It was basically like mashed potatoes with your whole Thanksgiving, like just mixed together.
Like a bowl.
Like, yeah, like a
Like a mashed
bowl.
potato
Yes. So he had a mashed potato bowl and he thought that was the coolest thing ever. So
they're learning good things in the cafeteria.
Yes.
Yeah.
we will let Miss Michael live another day.
Could I just ask a question real quick? With these other appropriations, is it coincidental that the number is exactly the same? Or
I
it's-
just looked at that myself and was like, that's interesting. We get the numbers from the athletic director, so I don't have a good enough reason for that right this second, but I will definitely let you know next meeting. But I will also send the board an email to why it's exactly the same. I don't know if they got a certain dollar amount or if they just say everybody gets to spend this much.
Might be
I'll have to,
percentage.
if it was like divided out,
Percentage.
I'll have to ask. Because, I just looked at them like, that's interesting that they are all exactly the same dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah. Those come in from the different appropriation requests like that usually come in from the department heads and then go down to my accounts payable person. And she usually gives me a great rundown, but we had a little bit of a Megan was on vacation overlap. And so I did not get that rundown before tonight. So I will definitely let you guys know though.
Thank you.
can I get a motion to approve item 51 then, please? Motion by Ms. Lehman. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lewis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yeah.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved. All right, moving on to board member communications. Lori.
Well, thank you to Auntie and Amari for the pledge. I've known their mom ever since she was in grade school. The whole family. My mom was friends with their mom, so and then all the donations are highly appreciated, very much. Gunther, awesome guy, him and Dee. I know both of them, known them both for a long time. Great people. He was so excited the first time he did it. So I'm sure he'll come back and do it again. And the policy committee, we had quite a day. It was it was 2.5 hours. It was a lot of going over. State just loves to change everything. And Megan, thank you for your forecast and your explanations. And that's about it.
Laura?
Well, first off, I want to give the 8th graders kudos to what this whole pod looks like. You guys really made it look like Whoville in here. Looks
great.
nice.
It is amazing.
From the characters on the wall to the everything. There's even a fireplace over here with stockings on it.
It's very grinchy.
Yeah,
Very
real nice.
grinchy.
And I will say again, I know we talked about a little bit earlier, Coach Long. I mean, I've kind of been on the road with you ever since you started coaching in Fremont. When I was helping with the football feed, we had Craig East then, and we were actually serving out of STOM school, and then you came, and it was just it was a good run of football. I mean, and I kind of, sent him a note on this and just told him, there's just so many things to be proud of, but I mean, you were just a good leader, down to taking the kids to camp before the season started in the summer to, I don't know, you were just always really involved with the kids, and they appreciate that. And I always knew that my kids were safe with you. So I would have to say, thinking back to all the years, and I also told him this, the years of football, the packed stadiums, the roaring crowds, it was fun. It was always a fun environment. And I think my favorite year probably would have been in 2017. We were down in Findlay, and we ended up playing 3 overtimes that night. Now, we came away with a loss, but those boys, and this is what I'm saying, all those years, man, they battled it out in the field. And they went back and forth, and you guys were the coaching staff. You guys led these boys to do that, and we came away with a loss that night, but I mean, pulling out of Findlay at 11:30, quarter till midnight, our nerves were shot. I will say that much, all of us parents, but it was a really good game. And the Fremont stands, of course, were packed, even at the away games, and we were just, man, it was a good game. But anyways, I always think back to all those years, and I would have to say that was probably something. But I mean, how many coaches can say, yeah, my team went into 3 overtimes at this game, and at Findlay at that, that's a big rivalry. So I don't know. I'm gonna miss seeing you out in the field, but I mean, I understand. You just got to do what you got to do, and I'll still see you around, and we'll look forward to seeing what Fremont has coming up next. So just thank you for everything you did for the boys and for Fremont football.
Sarah?
The holiday parade on Saturday was really awesome and included a lot of our students in different capacities. It was really neat to see not just a lot of school-aged kids from our community participating in, like I said, different capacities. The ballet school had the dancers in the one intersection, our marching band, some of our local churches. Somebody else I know was driving a bus during the parade. So it was just nice to see so many people, and the community really showed up for that event. So Front Street was just packed. There were some little guys standing beside where I was sitting, and when they saw, I don't know if it was Mr. Chambers and the drone, going over, they're like, like they were famous, but I really like our holiday parade, and that so many of our young people participate in that. I would just encourage families to visit all the local holiday attractions around. If you're looking for something to do, lots of things that don't cost a thing, or have a minimal fee. There's lights at the fairgrounds, the courthouse, just going through the downtown. Some of the shops did window decorating, and it's lit up down there, and it's just a nice way to get in the Christmas spirit. Changing directions just a little bit. Last week here in the district, And I don't want to cause any alarm, but it just seemed like a week of Mondays. I mean, some things were, small and tedious. Some things were a little bit more public and involved. And it just seemed like there's a school cancellation. There's an accident. There's just a week of Mondays. But I really wanted to commend our district administrators for how things were handled. And that in all that we can still come out on top and live to fight another day, like somebody else said. But just job well done in how things were handled last week.
I have something to add to yours. If you're out looking at lights and you go out Morrison, I think it's called James Street.
Mm-hmm.
You turn right, there is a house, and it is just beautiful. And if you go at the right time, there's Santa and some elves, and they're passing out hot chocolate and cookies. My daughter took the grandkids through there. The two older ones hid, and the 2-year-old wouldn't stop talking. So, but I drove through, and it's just beautiful. And Fremont has stepped up this year with the lights. I mean, Morrison Road, all over by the Hayes Center, it's just beautiful. But that house out there is just, you got to come in through James and then you come out on Miles, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely, I didn't even know it existed till she told me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it's been there, but it was gorgeous.
For a number of years.
See, and I didn't even know about it.
Yep.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Just kind of going back when we talked a little bit about the donations. I think it's just
Bless you.
really neat to see how our community, you were talking about, the kids' involvement and different things. And, when you look at that donation list, it really covers a lot of things that impact our families and our kids. When you talk about gloves and socks and, and then, we received a nice donation. I know they're not looking for attention, but from the Zimmermans at Westview Veterinary Hospital, made a nice donation to our food pantry. And I think, just the recognition that we're doing some good things and that our community's good about stepping up and, helping when it's needed. Because I think Mr. Hurt talked a lot about the when we were going through that issue with SNAP benefits and, and people having that food insecurity, and to be able to have a good room or access to food, for our high school kids and throughout the district. So I think that's a real positive. The other thing, a number of us had the opportunity to go to the Ohio School Board Association conference down in Columbus last week, and there were some good speakers in terms of some of the topics, and I think in the long run, I think it's money well spent when a district can have some of their board and some of their administrators participate in a conference of that magnitude. And, it's, 1,000 plus people there, and, people are moving from room to room. But, if you take the time, which most, we all did, put together our list of what sessions we're going to go to, it helps us become better board members, and you guys become better administrative people. And, then there's some sessions that are just, more motivational. And one of the speakers was John Quijones, who, we see on TV all the time. And one of them was, I think it's pronounced Layla. Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, and, you know, kind of talking. So, you know, it gives a different perspective of, you know, what people are experiencing in their lives. And then I think the other thing is, you know, for some of us, you know, stepping outside of maybe our comfort zone. And I know this year, Miss Lehman and I, you know, had the opportunity to go to the Black Caucus dinner, and it was different than it was last year. But the key thing there is they're recognizing people that have done some good things, but also they provide a number of scholarships for kids, and you know, so I think that was a positive. And then the final piece was, you know, some of the vendors. I did not get to go into the vendor area last year, but this year kind of got around probably about half of it. It's just amazing how many vendors are there, and it's just like going to an auction. You just have to, you know, keep your blinders on and you walk forward. Otherwise, you're going to be talking to every booth. And but there's the things that are available to us as a district, and you know, people not afraid to take their expertise and start a business and be a consultant and do those things. You know, you got to be able to step out and do those things. And I think it just helps make our district and our state stronger, despite all the political side of things down in Columbus. There's that side of us with growth. So that's all I had.
Well, thank you for Andy and Amara coming in to lead us in the pledge. Again, I like that part of the board meeting, just having the students come in. It's just fun. Thank you again to our community for the donations and all the help that it does for our kids. And last thing, just a plug for the wrestling. Thursday night is a big night for us for Fremont. It's going to be boys and girls wrestling. It's going to be senior night, so we can honor our seniors who wrestle, both boys and girls. It's at Fremont Ross in the gym. It's alumni night, so if you are a wrestling alum, you're free to get in for the match. It's against Findlay. It's a duel against Findlay, and we'll be wrestling boys and girls, not together, but at the same time. So it'll be a girls match, a boys match, girls match, boys match. So you get to see everybody. We're trying to fill it up, and we're doing some special things just to kind of get some energy going and stuff, and have a really fun night. So it should be a good night if you're looking for something to do on a cold Thursday night.
What time does that start time? Around 6?
I believe the senior recognition is going to be like 5:45. Wrestling's supposed to start at 6. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, no reason for executive session. So if I could have a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved. Meeting's adjourned.